guys, today we're going to be doing a leveling kit, 2-inch leveling kit on a 2017 GMC Sierra. This is a rough country leveling kit, but all of them are designed pretty similar. So if you follow the steps that I'm going to walk you through on this install, then I'm sure you can install other brands very similarly. But stick with me and we'll get through the process. I'll show you how to do it. Stay safe and get your truck leveled up, get a good flat aggressive stance to it. So stay tuned. Guys, the next order of business here is going to be jack the vehicle up. So you're going to jack it up on that center cross member right there, crossways. Set your jack stands down to where all 4 legs of the jack stands are sitting evenly. There's no rocking or leaning. And then you're going to ease the jack down so it doesn't fall into the jack stands. Okay, perfect. So the next thing we're going to do is there's 3 bolts or nuts on top of the strut. We're going to loosen those up. It's not necessary to take them all the way out, just loosen them a little bit so we have some wiggle room. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that right quick. Just finger tight, finger loose. We're going to move on to the next step. So the next step of the process is we're actually going to put the jack underneath the lower A-arm, the steering knuckle, so that we can support it when we start taking our ball joint nuts loose. Guys, with the vehicle supported, the steering knuckle supported, we're actually going to start removing the upper ball joint nut, and again that is an 18mm. Next part of the process, guys, we're going to hit the side of this right here to get this to slide out. Alright, after you whack on it with a hammer a few times, you'll see the ball joint will actually slide off. I like to keep my nut on the bottom of it to keep the threads from getting hit with a hammer on accident until it slides down, and then you take the nut off. But you see it's free, it's moving, it's just sitting in there. Next order of business is we're actually going to take the bolt off the bottom of the tie rod end ball joint so that we can pull that out of the way. So let me go ahead and get that started for you. As you can see here, this bottom of the tie rod nut wants to spin. So what we're going to do is get our wrench up there. Thank God it's a ratcheting wrench. And I'm going to hold that bottom tight with this crescent wrench to keep it from sliding off. Just until we can get it to where it's not tight anymore. And I love when ball joint ends, tie rod ends are set up like that. Then you can change them without an impact. You don't have to zip them on there really fast because the center will spin, right? Ooh, it's warm. Alright, we got that out of the way. We're not going to let the knuckle drop all the way. So the next order of business, guys, is actually going to be taking these bolts out of the bottom. Let me see if I can get a shot of it right here. Oh, you see them right there on the bottom of the strut. Let's get my hand here. See where my fingers are? There's 2 of them, one here and one here. We're going to take those loose. The thing we're going to do, guys, before we get any movement is we're going to have to take the sway bar bolts loose. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Right now, guys, we're going to take our spacers and slide them in. I'm not going to be able to do this one-handed, but slide them in underneath the strut mount. Perfect, guys. Found a better angle for you guys to see what I'm doing here. So now we're just going to take, again, and slide these spacers up underneath it and line your holes up. Take a nut and washer, slide it up through the bottom and all the way to the top. Right now we got these washers and these locking nuts that Rough Country supplied with us. So we're going to use them instead of retaining the factory clips because these obviously are going to be more durable for off-roading applications. I don't think it's absolutely necessary to use these if you don't want to, but if they send them with it, you might as well, right? So, I think that's going to be 15. They are going to be a different size. Take that brake line clip out so we can have any unnecessary stress on the brake line. Just realized that. Alright. So now we're going to take our deep one and put it on top. That probably doesn't matter. It probably doesn't matter. To be honest, it doesn't matter. It's not going to have enough depth to it. So we're just going to get this one a little tight. Not super tight because we still got to do the other side. But we don't want it to fall out while we're trying to do the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this up there. Line the holes up. Perfect. Oh, it came back out. That's how lined up those holes were. They came right back out. We put a washer on, our locking nut. Just thought about something, guys. We're gonna do this differently. Notice how I put the bolts up from the bottom. If the nut and the washer were to fall off, that bolt could wiggle out. So this is one of those learn on the fly moments. That bolt could wiggle out, causing the spacer to fall out and the strut to slap out. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna come in from the top and go down. Because even if this nut and bolt falls off, if the nut and the washer falls off, the bolt will still be through the hole with the weight and the pressure of the vehicle on it, therefore keeping it in its place. I apologize about that, guys. So I'm glad I was able to catch that before some of you guys did in the comments. Sometimes you guys are ruthless, man. Put a ratchet back on tight. Put that ratchet back on tight. Alright, let's take this one back off and do the same thing. On this side. I'm still new to this whole recording and camera stuff, so I feel like I'm paying so much attention. Getting a good shot, good footage, good sound, good video for you guys. Not making excuses, but it's a lot of extra stuff. A lot of extra stuff to think about. It's fun though, I enjoy it. Tighten. Now you're gonna make these tight, and I'll explain later in the video how you're supposed to keep them tight, because there's a maintenance routine, maintenance schedule with any type of lift kit or aftermarket suspension parts that you might add. Okay. Man, as you guys can see, I'm drenched right now. It's Tennessee humidity. Heat is hot. So please guys, if you're gonna work on cars, stay hydrated, drink water. Not just water, Gatorade, Powerade, stuff with electrolytes, juices. You want to be out here and overheat and pass out because you're sweating, and then you're underneath the car. And I was like, people always just working on his car and they drive by, 100 people drive by. You don't realize you had a heat stroke or something. All right, guys, we got that side in. I'm gonna show y'all how to put it back together. It's pretty much the same as taking it apart. There's just a little added extra steps to add in here and there to make it a little easier. What to look for. Trying to put some of this stuff back in can be a pain getting things lined up. But there's a few tricks I'll show you guys, and we'll get it put back together. Now, I'm not going to record the other side because the other side is completely identical to this one. That would be a little silly. I mean, to waste footage time, memory space, and just to repeat myself, right? But you guys know if y'all have any additional questions or comments, you just put it down below. I will answer. If this is on Facebook or Instagram, you can direct message me. I typically respond within a day. You know, I'm not super famous. I don't have anything better to do. So if you got any questions, hit me up. I'll answer them. You guys, you can go ahead, jack it up a little bit underneath the knuckle. Go ahead and put this bolt in for your tie rod in, but don't tighten it yet. Next thing we're going to do, guys, is we're going to slide all the sway bar parts back in. See what I mean? Jack it up a little bit. Make sure that as you're jacking it up, first of all, your jack's all the way tight so it doesn't leak down. Now what I like to do, I'm going to push this down just enough on the upper ball joint that I can get some threads on it. Now we know it's not coming back out, right? So, now you can jack up on that. Spindle some more. Fucking truck jack in. Scary part, because you actually got to jack the truck up on the bottom of the knuckle, and it's going to lift the truck off the jack stand if it's pretty tight. But by doing that, you can see that I was able to thread on that top piece of hardware for the sway bar end link. Now you just use 2 wrenches, top and bottom, tighten it up. Last but not least, guys, we are going to start tightening this bolt right here. Sometimes they're pickles, sometimes they're not. So we're going to tighten that down. Again, that's an 18 millimeter. All right, guys, I'm going to try to get the camera on so y'all can see the bottom of this. Where's it at? Bottom of this bolt, so it doesn't spin. Actually, it has an Allen key in the middle of it, which, golly, thank you, GM, for doing that. Because the position it's in, you really would need a pickle fork to get it in or out. Well, and you just can't. You wouldn't be able to get an impact to zip it on there fast. A pickle fork tears up your ball joint. So anytime you got to use maintenance, you know you're gonna have to replace the ball joint because a pickle fork tore your ball joint in pieces. really isn't a lot of work to explain what you're doing while you're doing it. Believe it or not. These strut bolts up here at the top, we're gonna have to tighten those down. Do not forget, that's very important. Hey guys, that's what it looks like with a 2-inch leveling kit. Looks good, right? No more front end sag. Alright guys, well, I got the truck finished. Just goes to show you, even if you know what you're doing, sometimes you gotta stop and relook at things and do it a different way. Like if I wouldn't have flipped those bolts around, it probably would have been okay. But then again, it might not. And I would sleep better. I sleep better at night knowing that I did something properly and people are going to be safe. So, like I said, you don't need all those expensive. Like I've been saying, you don't need all those fancy, expensive tools to get stuff done. You just gotta do it, and you know, and take your time. Don't get in a rush, and always be safe, man. Always be safe. Stay hydrated in this heat, and make sure you're on jack stands. Like I've been saying, never trust a floor jack. Never trust a jack. But I appreciate you guys sticking around today and watching the video. I hope it helps somebody out. You know, if you guys are planning on doing this, tackling this project on your own, good luck. Like I said, you got any questions, feel free to message me or hit me up on YouTube or Facebook. But as for everything else, I love you guys. Peace.